Saturn V. That's right, they have it over here to look out for wildlife. There are no wildlife refuges, so you never know if you're especially inside the water.
NASA is known for dreaming big, and big dreams require big equipment. I'm standing next to the Crawler Transporter, the largest self-powered land vehicle in the world. It was originally built in 1965 for the Apollo program, and has since been updated to accommodate the space shuttle and now NASA's SLS rocket. Weighing in at 6 million pounds and capable of lifting and hauling 18 million pounds, the Crawler is an engineering marvel, even without a rocket sitting on top of it. This thing has 2,750 horsepower V16 diesel engines that can carry the Crawler up to a top speed of, wait for it, 1 mile per hour while carrying a rocket. Keep an eye out for the Crawler as we approach this area. And remember, we are visiting a working spaceport, so while the Crawler may not stay in one area for very long, it's bound to be out here somewhere. Now, let me introduce you to my friend John Giles, the Crawler project manager.
I'm standing in front of Crawler Transporter number 2 at Kennedy Space Center. Crawler Transporter 2 is used for the SLS program to take the launch vehicle back and forth to the pad. To move the rocket from the Vehicle Assembly Building, or the VAB as we call it, to the launch pad, a certified operator carefully maneuvers the Crawler underneath the mobile launcher where the SLS is stacked. We then pick up the mobile launcher and the SLS rocket together and slowly, very slowly, carry it to the launch pad. It's a 4.2 mile trip that takes 7 to 8 hours. We'll roll over a specifically prepared crawler weight that consists of river rock anywhere from 8 to 12 inches thick. Below that is limestone that's 4 to 5 feet thick that is hydraulically compressed. And then below that is another 20 to 30 feet of sand which supports the weight of the crawler and the mobile launcher as we roll over top of it. Once we're at the launch pad, we drop off the mobile launcher and the SLS rocket. And after the launch, we come back, pick up the mobile launcher with the crawler again, and bring it back to the VAB. Then we'll repeat this process for the next Artemis mission.
With 50 years and some 3,000 kilometers or 2,000 miles on the clock, NASA expects the crawlers to be in operation for at least another 3 decades. How cool is that? The crawler will be doing what it was originally designed to do once again, which is moving rockets.
Hi, I'm Daryl Nail, Artemis's launch commentator. Take a look at the 4-story building that you see right now. That one with the slanted windows, that building is the Launch Control Center, or LCC, where launch directors and their teams oversee every NASA rocket that lifts off from the Kennedy Space Center, and it's where they give the final go or no-go for launch. We're inside the LCC now with Charlie Blackwell-Thompson, NASA's first female launch director. So Charlie, tell me what your role is as launch director, and then what happens inside this room?
The launch director is responsible for working with the team on the launch commit criteria, the rules with which we are go, no-go. There's a lot that we have to do to be ready for launch.
So what's it like on launch day for you and the 100 engineers that you have watching the systems of the rocket before liftoff?
On launch day, this room is the hub of excitement because the team is focused, and the closer you get to T0, the quieter it gets. You can almost feel the concentration in the room.
Now, this room, of course, is very interesting. You can see from the outside that the windows are very large and they're slanted. It has an operational purpose, but it does provide quite a view of the wildlife out there.
It certainly does. But the windows are like this by design, and as you can see, as you look out the windows, what a great view you have of Launch Complex 39A and 39B. And so during the Artemis launches, we can look out to 39B where we launch from, and you can see from From the core stage engine start to booster ignition through the ascent trajectory until the vehicle is well overhead.
So where were you when you were watching Artemis 1 launch back in November of 2022?
So for the launch of Artemis 1, I was here in Firing Room 1 at the launch director console.
We've talked a lot about the Artemis campaign. We've mentioned it several times. What is the Artemis campaign about?
So the Artemis campaign is returning us to lunar exploration for the first time since the Apollo program ended in 1972. The beauty of what we're doing is that we're not going for a short stay, but we're going to have a sustained presence on the moon where we can learn to live away from our home planet, and we can take those lessons that we learn and apply them to deep space exploration for a journey to Mars.
We were getting to the moon, of course, is with the help of a very powerful rocket, the Space Launch System, or SLS. Tell me about this rocket's capability.
This rocket is key to us returning to the surface of the moon. It is about 15% more powerful than the Saturn V vehicles that we used for lunar exploration prior, and it weighs about 1 million pounds less.
What else about the Artemis campaign do you get excited about?
I think about the Artemis generation and the curiosity and the inspiration that these sets of missions will ignite in that generation. There's also scientific discovery. We're still learning from the samples that we collected during the first trips to the moon. And so what are we going to learn when we're there to stay? And then, of course, there's technology development. If you think about some of the things that apply in our daily lives, flame retardant materials, miniaturized electronics, and how they have made such an impact in our daily lives, and all of which you can find a thread back to NASA exploration.
Well, thank you, Charlie, for telling us about your role and showing us what happens inside this room. It was really exciting to listen to you talk, and thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. I love talking about the launch.
I wanted to show you one out to Corolla transmitters. Right here on your right-hand side, as soon as you hit these little white buildings, you'll see Corolla transmitter 1 right here in the corner. They're not using Corolla transmitter 1 right now, but they look exactly the same. There's the Corolla, and Corolla transmitter 2 that's in Artemis 1 to the launch pad is back there half under the mobile launch platform from the shuttle area. The tower that is under construction, that will be the mobile launch tower for Artemis.
Launch team and what happens in the Launch Control Center. And I hope all of you have an incredible day. Enjoy the Kennedy Space Center and go Artemis.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
When President John F. Kennedy made this speech in 1962, he set in motion an era of discovery that would change humankind forever. 7 years after he spoke these ambitious words, the world watched as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first people to walk on the moon. The achievements of the men and women who worked on the space program in these early decades of NASA helped propel the technology we use every day. NASA and the thriving private space industry at Kennedy Space Center today are the living legacy of their story. As we arrive at the Apollo Saturn V Center to learn more about that historic era, get ready to step back into a time when NASA had everything to prove to a nation focused on one goal: to be the first country to land a person on the moon.
Please check around your seat to make sure you have all of your belongings before departing the bus. Wait at the metal doors to enter the Apollo Saturn V Center. A new show will begin every 10 minutes. Stay and explore as long as you like, and simply exit through the Right Stuff gift shop to board a bus back to the visitor complex. About a 15-minute ride with buses departing frequently.